What did you miss from the Pokemon Winds and Waves trailer? Well, that's what I'm going to break down to you in this trailer analysis for Pokemon Winds and Waves, the 10th generation of Pokemon. Let's get started. There is one of the most important pieces of information revealed during the Pokemon Presents, that Pokemon Winds and Waves will be a Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive, which for me is an incredibly good piece of news. Look, after Legends ZA, there was clearly no way they could continue to support the Nintendo Switch, and I think some of the graphical kind of scenes that they show off in this trailer reinforce that. But yes, Pokopia is the first Pokemon game exclusive to Nintendo Switch 2, and Winds and Waves will also be exclusive to Nintendo Switch 2. This game's coming out in 2027, 10 years after the release of the Nintendo Switch, so it was obvious that it was going to be a Switch 2 game. Now here is showing a little tone piece for the setting. This is a little live action intro which went through all the different generations, which was nice. I think at this point most people realized that it was going to be the Gen 10 trailer. That Johto art is beautiful and I would love to buy it somewhere. Also, when I saw that Johto thing, I was like, oh, just stop there, let's make another Johto game. These little run-throughs always make me so nostalgic, especially for these areas of the world that we didn't really see in this high fidelity at the time. That Pikachu is clearly an indication that this is going to be heavy graphics time. Obviously, this isn't representative of what the graphics are going to look like in the game itself, as they quickly show you, but I thought this was a cool way to be like, okay, now we're going to the next generation. That looks like a Pikachu redesign. It's the slender Pikachu, and in a year where we're seeing the fat Pikachu quite a lot because of the nostalgia stuff, the slender Pikachu, I mean, it's very fuzzy. It looks like Pikachu should. Pikachu shouldn't be like hairy. Pikachu should be a fuzzball, so it looks nice. Now, the stars of the show. This is Mr. Windy Chew and Mrs. Wavy Chew, two of the costumed Pikachus that will appear in the game. If you look at the official art for these, which are on VGC, Mrs. Wavy Chew is dark yellow and looks like shiny Pikachu, so it'll be interesting to see how that manifests itself, or if each of these is exclusive to which game you pick. Maybe they're a companion Pokemon either for the player or for a professor. We watched this in a theatre, and at this point people were going absolutely wild for it. The Wind and Waves motif and the Pikachus there are also reflective of the player character, art for which has also been released, and that like depends which hat you get. Right, this is gameplay, get right into it. This is the world. We're obviously in some kind of archipelago. It's going to be something that's very water focused, and as we'll see later, it's got a lot of like underwater segments as well, so very funny to start this trailer with a windmill after all the windmill nonsense from the last generation. Very funny, very intentional, but it gives us a little look at the world behind it as well. Your typical kind of routes. It's very hilly, obviously. It doesn't seem like we're going to many super flat areas, but Paldea was pretty hilly as well. Gloom and Tropius there. The shot of Gloom. Can we get back to it? Can we get more Gloom on here, please? Yeah, so the models are nice. I think it's probably the ZA model refresh, which is good because those models look very high quality. But the environment itself, nice shadows, looks very dense with kind of foliage, which is something obviously that Scarlet and Violet was criticized for, and all the way back to Sword and Shield was criticized for the trees. Wailord and Wailmer. I think there's going to be a really heavy focus on water types in this generation. We're probably going to get a lot of new water types that are very strong, both strong from a design perspective and from a gameplay perspective. But I expect any fish adjacent Pokemon will probably make it into this Pokedex. Right, now, this big thing, this looks like it could be a gym, or is this part of a larger, I don't know if you can see my mouse, but there's like a little, is that a truck maybe, or a building? And then a little path here and some other buildings down there. Perhaps this is the equivalent of the gym in whatever city this is. Obviously this will be some kind of focal point. Maybe each of the different, if it's islands, has one of these large things here. We stop here again. It's like little cabanas, and in fact, I actually think when we get to the starters, we see inside one of these cabanas. Maybe this is where you start. Is this the starter area? Is this the first resort that the new player comes to? Because when we see the starters later on, I think it's in one of these cabanas here. There is the first look at the player character. I assume this is Johnny Wind, as we'll call him, because the cowboy hat motif seems to be for the wind type characters, and the waves characters have a... And there's Mrs. Waves. So you see that thing on the side of their backpack there? I assume that is locomotion. There we go. More looks at the characters and your wind and waves differentiation. They're still going with this Under Armour. God, I went too far back. They're still going with this Under Armour style of clothing, where I assume that this stuff here, like the blue shorts and the yellow top, will be customizable, and maybe the Under Armour leggings as well. But it's a cool enough character. The main thing is the models look a lot better. Okay, right, we're getting back into it. We're getting back into Pokemon. Let's slide back here, because there was someone in that grass. Apologies, I'm going frame by frame. Ah, there we go. That wee Nimble, I believe that's Nimble, in the grass there. And then you've got some Talos flying by. You know how I feel. This big Pokeball thing, I think this could be like showing where a Pokemon Center is. Obviously, in Scarlet and Violet, we had like the roaming Pokemon Center, Pokemart, link play kind of situation. I think this is maybe also the case, and that kind of hot air balloon means you can see it out in the world slightly easier. And there is perhaps exactly what I mean. The Pokemon Center, Pokemart, once again, it's combined and it's outdoor. It's not a specific building you go into like in previous generations, which is interesting. Couple of Tangela. Oh, and an Oddish. Right, and now we really get a look at the wavy nature. Obviously, they're really showing off their water tech in this trailer. And with a name like Winds and Waves, it's not that surprising, but the water seems to be a big focus for them. So here we go. Here's these little huts here, this little resort. Looks like one of these fancy holidays that influencers go on. Maybe the cities are more like this, or because there's something over there that I think that's actually the Pokemon Center and the Pokemart, based on those tiny little logos as well. So this is a town potentially, and then perhaps up there is the gym or gym equivalent. Nice little shot of there's something over there, but I think it's in the Pokemon language, which I don't know if it's ever been like, you know, in Star Wars you have Aurebesh, but you can actually translate that to English. I don't know if the Pokemon language has ever been translated, but if Joe Merrick wants to get on it, there's something in the hills there. I might not say much. I might just say the name of the town, but a little Ledybaz there. Oh, and a Ledian. Slugma. Centiskorch. Centiskorch might be the evolution. My apologies. I'm not super up on my Sword and Shield. I like those games, but not massively. Nice again, lighting the cave and the flames. I don't know. That's not. If that Slugma there is actually a light source in itself, that could be quite interesting. And there he is, the main man, Pikachu, and it gives us our first look at catching Pokemon. I fully assume that the Scarlet and Violet style of catching will return, but it seems like the player is in a battle here, so perhaps the player was using a Pokemon to fight Pikachu and then threw out the Pokeball. So if we stop here, that's a new animation on the stars, like flying out of the Pokeball there. Perhaps we'll be able to customize that. That could be cool. Some Wingull, again, more sea, Krabby, Sandygast. It's clearly beach and water inspired Pokemon will be a heavy force in the decks. Corsola and Toxapex's evolution. That's Marini. Again, in the background here, is that same building from the start? I think it's actually a slightly different one, but again, I wouldn't be surprised if every one of the main kind of islands has that building. Temple, another kind of swampy area. Perhaps we can go under there. Slugma, that looks like the Slugma are a light source. Maybe not a full-on light source, but they clearly have a way that the Pokemon can be, can have a slightly different texture on them. The same way that in Scarlet and Violet, a lot of the metallic Pokemon or the scaly Pokemon got a texture refresh. I wouldn't be surprised if Pokemon like Slugma, and if they're in it, like Torkoal perhaps get a refresh. Oh, Duskull. What's that back there? Maybe that's just a... Oh, there's Slowking. Maybe that's just a hotel of some sort. Some kind of lodging. And there's Johnny Waves. Right, now we're getting into the real meat. The starters. The place went absolutely bush when these were revealed. Let me tell you, there's an obvious choice. I think this is one of the strongest starter trios we've had in a very long time. The reaction online kind of sums that up. And it's the first time in a long time that I've not seen one specific starter be massively hated on. One of them has been very much taken to many people's hearts, but I've not seen any of the three of them that has been really badly dismissed. So, we've got this lad, Brout. We've got Bomb Bomb. And we've got Gekwa. Let's get right back there. Brout. Right. Brout is a very funny looking guy. Clearly some kind of like little chickpea bird type. Will it evolve into something with massive wings? A flying grass is probably realistic to assume. Some kind of flying grass chicken. Pom Bomb. I love Pom Bomb. The obvious choice for me straight away. Now, the Pokemon Company, I know you listen to me. Please, for the love of God, don't make it go on 2 feet. This is a beautiful little dog. We do not need another bipedal fire third stage of your starter. The third stage is the one that we spend the entire game with. It's only a Pom Bomb for about 16 levels, so please consider making it just a big dog. A big fire dog, that would be excellent. The fire supremacy as the most popular starter needs to return. And I think Pom Bomb is the way that we're going to do it. But for the love of God, don't make it stand up. It's fun when a dog stands up on its back 2 legs for a laugh. But if my dog started walking on its back 2 legs, I would take it to the hospital. So please consider that on the future of Pom Bomb. Gekwa. Now, Gekwa can go one of 2 ways. Gekwa could either be very cute, or maybe it'll go in a Greninja style, like sleek assassin kind of thing. It's going to be some kind of big water lizard, clearly starting off as a gecko. But I think that it can go one of 2 ways, as I said. So I think it's very strong. I'm going to pick Pom Bomb. There's virtually no way that I don't pick Pom Bomb, but based on the way that the trading works in modern Pokemon games and how easy it is to get the other starters, picking your first partner is not the life or death choice that it was back in the day. And then as the trailer comes to an end, we get like a better look at the... Oh, it's like a dark cloud there. Is that a Pokemon? It's like a big Seviper. Maybe that's the legendary just floating off in the clouds. We get another look at the water. This world looks absolutely massive. I fully assume that we can visit all of these islands, like in what is it, the Greek Assassin's Creed game Odyssey, where they have like thousands of different islands you go to, and some of them won't have anything, but obviously some of them are major. On here we go. We're under the water. Now, I assume dive is a huge part of this game. Perhaps you get some kind of like rebreather situation, like the Phantom Menace, and you can go under the water. There's a nice Lumineon floating by. And you're getting, as we see here, tons and tons of different Pokemon. Oh, Krabby on the bottom of the sea as well. Wailord is sadly not canon size unless we're very far away from it, because the Wailord should be taking up the entire screen, but I've come to my peace with that. And I think that's it. Pokemon Winds and Waves coming in 2027. I like the logos. I think they're very, very cool looking. It's a nice color aesthetic, the kind of iridescent colors. Global simultaneous release in 2027. Right, let's talk about it. Overall, I think it was a very strong debut trailer. What are you wanting from a debut trailer? You want to get a tone piece of the world, which I think it does. You want to see the starters, which I think it does. And you want to know when it's out, which 2027 was surprising. I fully expected this to be a 2026 game to tie in with the anniversary. But if they want to take their time for the first Switch 2 exclusive mainline Pokemon game, then that's totally fine. It's sad because I'd like to play it, but I do wonder what the real differences between Wind and Waves are going to be. There will be the obvious exclusive Pokemon differences, but obviously I think those two costumed Pikachu from the start will also be a difference, either helping out a professor, maybe they're like the professor's aide, or they're your guide. You come to this region on a holiday, and who's there to greet you but the landlord of your Pokemon Airbnb, either Mr. Windy Chew or Mrs. Wavy Chew. It'll be interesting to see how they... I always like the little conceits they have of like, oh, why is the player here? Obviously, Paldea, you're just like going to school. Legends EA, you just turn up in Lumio City. So I wonder what Winds and Waves will bring. I think it's pretty obvious from the trailer and from the fact that one of the motifs is waves, that going underwater and surfing is going to be a huge factor in it. I wonder if flying about will be a similarly huge factor because of the winds. You assume that also means that the legendaries are like flying type and water type. Maybe one of the legendaries you get right at the bottom of the sea and one of them is a big sky battle. Maybe that cloud that I pointed out in the trailer is a legendary. If it was, what a shout that would be if it actually was. But I don't think we'll see anything about that for a little while. Again though, so obviously it's Pokemon tradition that the legendaries go on the box. Do they do that again, or do they shake it up? I wouldn't mind the legendaries not being on the box. I know it's been the case. The only generations that don't have the legendaries on the box are the first generation, top of my head. Yeah, so they probably will do it, but I think that's something we're more likely to see perhaps at the Pokemon World Championships / Pokemon XP, because it says it's 2027. Is it early 2027, or more likely is it like Christmas 2027, because Pokemon is like a huge Christmas game, but they released Legends Arceus at the start of the year as far as I remember. So I suppose it'll be up to Nintendo. I think Nintendo would want it as their Christmas game, so Christmas 2027 makes a lot of sense. But let me know in the comments below if there's anything I've missed, what you think of Winds and Waves, and crucially who you're going to pick as your first partner Pokemon. Obviously, as the year rolls on and we find out more about Winds and Waves, we'll have plenty more to say about it here on VGC. But thank you for joining me for this trailer breakdown. Consider supporting VGC at patreon.com/videogameschronicle. It's crucial to the continuation of the website, and it provides you with ad-free browsing on the website and lots of extra content and videos, lots of Pokemon content on there, as I'm sure you'll be shocked to hear. Thank you very much, guys, and we'll see you later. VGC is supported by Patreon. Check out patreon.com/videogameschronicle for more podcasts, ad-free browsing, and extra content. Thank you for your support.